Hi lovelies, and welcome to the Witch's Cookery. While the golden late summer sun still brightens some of our September days, the mornings usually start with chilly autumn rain, washing the heat of August away and bringing plants and trees a much needed refresher from the summer's drought. In the gardens and orchards, the harvest is brought in its beautiful, vibrant colors. And while outside, nature is slowly preparing for the rest and recovery phase, inside our houses, cozy season has begun. Soft blankets, warming drinks, golden candlelight, and the scent of apple crumble baking in the oven. My favorite festival on the witch's wheel of year is here, Mabon. And I'm so excited to be taking you through my autumn equinox celebration and this crisp fall morning. And to be honest, since I am the hobbit of harvest festivals, I celebrate pretty much all month through. So there will be a lot more autumnal cozy witchery waiting for you in upcoming vlogs. So how to celebrate Mabon and what can you expect to see today? We will hear all about the potato harvest festivities whilst making traditional Bavarian plum dumplings. We shall also discuss the symbolism of the season for our lives as modern spiritualists or witchcraft practitioners, learn about the witches' Thanksgiving and importance of gratitude for inner contentment, happiness and manifestation. And last but not least, we shall bring beautiful fall decor into our homes and onto our Mabon altar setup for some cozy cottage witchcraft. But first, let's put on our boots and enjoy this misty September morning on a harvest haul through forests and fields. Louis! As summer ends and falls to start, the dark increases as the light departs. But on this day, the sun and moon share equal time from night to noon. The morning air has chilly nip, apple cider's warmth will sip. Second harvest's yield is stored, the seed we've sown have reaped reward. Circle round the Mabon rite, as day gives way into the night. Prepare for winter's long cold breath as Mother Earth slips into death and waits for spring to be reborn when life once more the world adorn. The elk bucks bugle to announce the rut, the squirrels are busy gathering nuts, the bears retreat to dance to slumber, the leaves turn gold, the days are numbered. Towards the south the robin flocks on this, the autumn equinox. So it starts, the earth's great rest, retreating into mother's breast. But warm and filled our souls will stay, for cold and hunger are held at bay. So cover your heads and rekindle the hearth, as brother autumn is on his path. On the Wheel of Year, we're always balancing living in the here and now, preparing and planning for the future and honoring the past. And the pagan cultures of ancient time worshipped the sun, the fire, brought offerings to the gods, to nature spirits, performed fertility rites in order to counterbalance the axis on the Wheel of Year and to make sure that the world kept spinning. As modern day pagans or witchcraft practitioners, we still celebrate holidays and their spiritual meaning on the solstices, on the equinoxes, and celebrate the seasonal cycle of life. And in my personal practice, I look a lot to nature, to life cycles there, to draw inspiration for my own spirituality, for reflection, introspection, for my life, to plan out mundane tasks as well. And the festivals or the Sabbats on the Wheel of Year do provide amazing pillars with inspiration and food for thought how to structure or restructure your life in that particular month or season. There's a bunch of symbolism going on there, there's a bunch of historic context that you can use to make your life just a tad more magical and in tune with the natural world. Now in last year's Mabon vlog, I went much more into the tradition, the history of Mabon and the modern counterparts in Bavaria, here in southern Germany. We also talked about the 4 main messages the autumn equinox can give you. But as everything in witchcraft, you have to see what speaks to you in the moment and where your life is at, what you can pick out and make work for you. So this year I'm going to show you more practical ways to celebrate Mabon, and a spoiler alert, the main theme definitely will be harvest. If this is not focused on my face, I'm going to be so mad. I really need to start wearing my glasses. Anyways, so many people just seem to jump over the holiday of Mabon because they're already so excited for the big one, Samhain, spooky season, Halloween. And I get it. Samhain is pretty nifty. But to be fair, if you really look into the symbolism of it all, Mabon is the only holiday on the Wheel of Year that really is mainly about enjoyment of the moment. Gratitude, abundance, harvest. Yes, there's also a little bit of preparing for the winter. But all the other holidays were about like planning and scheming, building up to this like harvest aspect of it all. So it seems paradox to me to jump over it. However, it also seems very fitting to human nature because we are just wired like that. We are planning and preparing, always wanting more, striving for more, which is great in many ways, but sometimes it can also rob us of the joy of really enjoying the moment and what we already have and what we already achieved. Stepping a little bit into the trap of not finding the time and the appreciation and gratitude and not finding the contentment in our lives as it is now. And it has to be said that I'm massively guilty of that as well with my Capricorn plan, always striving for the next level. So I really welcome those opportunities like Mabon, the autumn equinox, that reminds us to stop for a second, really take stock of what we have, enjoy it and be happy about it. I have a huge ass vision board in my office with all my big goals and dreams on it. But if I take a step back, or rather take a step up there in my very messy attic and look at the vision boards from the last years, I can see that my life now is exactly how I had it envisioned. I achieved all those things that I wanted so badly, that I dreamed about. So it's super important for me to also take the time and like really realize that what I'm living now is what my dream life looked like not too long ago, and not get swept up in the glitz and glam of what could be. So in the spirit of Mabon, how can you do this? Well, one way to do it is of course gratitude journaling, meditating with that intention in mind, walking with open observant eyes. If you do scripting, read through your former scripting journals, or just do the activities that you're doing very mindfully and with a sense of appreciation in mind, that you get to do those things that many people probably don't. For me, one of my favorite activities to do that obviously is cooking, and especially now that I have a garden full with fruit, my own fruit that grew there just for me, and I can go and pick it and make it into something absolutely delicious in my kitchen and then give it to my wonderful little crotch goblins that will gobble it up and say, "Thank you, mommy, I love you." And of course the big goblin that will not eat it because it comes from the garden and it has bugs. The plum tree in our garden is laden with fruit to the point where already 2 branches broke off from the weight. So we are eating plum something every day for breakfast or as a cozy autumnal treat in the afternoon. boozy plum crumble, plum compote with pumpkin pancakes, plum and goat cheese tartlet, cinnamon and plum liqueur, game and sweet sauce, and my own creation, spice plum latte, Starbucks pumpkin spice latte. I'm coming for you with my coffee kitchen witch magic. Watch out. But also let me know if you'd be interested in seeing the recipe, and I might share it in an upcoming fall witch vlog. But today we are making a traditional Austro-Bavarian bohemian dish, either eaten as a sweet treat or for lunch. Knödel, more specifically Zwetschgenknödel. Damson dumplings in potato dough coated in caramelized butter breading. The perfect mixture between the tart acidity of the damson, the softness of the rich potato dough, and the sweetness of sugar, spice, and everything nice. It's like autumn on your tongue. Best served warm, right off the pan, alongside some pecan or walnut ice cream and a generous serving of whipped cream. One reason I love Mabon so much is that there is a huge abundance of fresh local fruit and veg. And even though I cannot really keep a full garden due to traveling, I do have my trees that give me all the goodies without much upkeep at all. Also, if you are a fellow kitchen witch, is Mabon ranking high on your favorite festivals on the Wheel of Year too? Another fruit that in my head is absolutely connected to this holiday is the potato. Obviously, this doesn't go back to pagan times. After all, the potato only came to Europe in 1560. In rural Germany, once the potato harvest is finished, the potato foliage is gathered in a big pile and then put on fire. Because in the countryside you cannot have good celebration without lighting a huge-ass bonfire. Well, that, and it's also done to avoid potato blight fungus. Anyways, the potatoes that are not going to keep long due to them being bruised or wholly, potatoes that have holes, then get thrown into the fire where they roast. This is called a Kartoffelfeuer, and it's a big celebration about spending time together with others, waving the last summer sun goodbye and preparing for winter. I have such warm memories of that as a kid, getting dressed up in a new cute autumn outfit, cozy jacket, packing the kites to let them fly on the hills and fields, and then gathering around a big warming fire, eating twist bread, pretzel and potatoes with quark, while the adults enjoy the strong brewed harvest beer and ripe wines. Also, back to the recipe. You know how some people really get off on popping a pimple? I mean, not in a sexual kind of way, but in a satisfies your brain kind of way. I mean, I find it disgusting, but squeezing hot potatoes? Yes, that's my jam. Oh, the soft, so warm, so satisfying. This is like the apple pie scene in American Pie, but for your hands. Feels so good. Okay, enough with the food porn before this video gets demonetized. Slap it, pat it, spank it. Basically, you want it to be soft, well blended and flat so you can fill it with your plums or mirabelles because they also taste acinous. By the way, if the entire shebang of cooking and pressing potatoes seems too daunting, don't worry. You can also make this with a simple yeast dough if you fancy a deep-fried autumn morsel of crispy delight, or with a quark and egg dough for clouds of fruity fun covered in cinnamon magic. Put them into hot water, not boiling but hot. Watch out for your paws, maybe even be smarter than me and take some sort of ladle. And for now, the best part, the coating. Obviously, we will need a brick of butter, because butter makes everything better. Then we throw in breadcrumbs, sugar and a very generous dash of cinnamon. Mix that together and ta-da! Your perfect sweet breading for anything. I swear I would eat anything that was covered in this with happy enthusiasm. Yes, babe, this was a hidden hint. If I wouldn't have two crotch goblins to bathe and feed right now, I would have totally made a quick plum compote to serve that with. But this is life, and it's still very tasty, so lots enjoy! Mabon is often titled the Witch's Thanksgiving, and while I know nothing about the American Thanksgiving other than the amazing food you eat, I do know a lot more about the European harvest thanks festivities that are all about being grateful for the abundance Mother Nature has gifted us over the year. And how that is celebrated is completely dependent on region, but oftentimes it involves big autumn festivities, festivals, markets where the fresh produce is displayed, where you have the tapping of the strong harvest beers or wines. In the Catholic countries, outside altars are set up where they lay out all the things that have grown on the fields and in the gardens. They make special adorned bread. Harvest crowns are set up made out of straw or grain or grass, decorated with flowers. And in many areas you have processions with hay wagons, with tractors, with the animals that are now returning from the mountain meadows into their stables, often adorned with beautiful natural decor. And in former times this day was actually really important in the rural year because it was a day to let your hair down and party it up a bit. The landlords or the farmers were supposed to give a big feast, big day of eating and drinking to the farmhands, to the maids, to thank them for the hard work throughout the summer and the spring. And in the fields, straw puppets were burned as an offering to the land spirit, to the gods, in hopes that next year would be just as abundant. And personally, I don't only take Mabon as an opportunity to count my blessings, but a big part of it for me is also to show gratitude and appreciation for the little things and the big things I have received or achieved. And aside from my wonderful family, there are two things that I'm extremely grateful for this year. Number one, the natural world, the nature out here where I live, for providing me with all that inspiration, fueling my creativity, nourishing my soul, my mental health, the tranquility, the peace it gave me, the inspiration for my own life, for my spirituality. And there are many ways to show your gratitude or appreciation towards nature. Grabbing a bag and picking up some trash, donating to nature funds, living a greener life and doing your best to be a bit more eco-friendly in small ways, or something that I love to do because it also teaches the crotch goblins about the meaning of the holiday and is a very visual, tangible type of thing that they can understand better, is to do a little offering for the land spirits, for the animals, meaning we'll just prepare apples that have fallen from the tree, a little bit of fruit, some seeds from the sunflowers, maybe gather some nuts, and then we go into the forest and lay it out in a beautiful mandala so that the birds and the other little creatures can nibble on it. And while we're laying it out, it's also really nice to prompt the kiddos into sharing what they are grateful for, what they're happy about in their lives, just in a regular type of conversation. Beautiful way to spend some time together, be mindful, be present, be creative, and get some fresh air at the same time. And the second thing I'm massively thankful for is that I have not only found but also helped create and shape a community in this witchcraft sphere. I so enjoyed my first retreat and the people there, and I'm actually going to meet them next year in the UK and then in Salem to celebrate the summer solstice and Thanksgiving together. Also a huge shout out to my online retreat group, In Your Element. An absolutely fantastic bunch of inspiring people. And let's not forget about you, the people that always comment down below, where I already know your screen names and it just feels like a friend is checking in. It's wonderful to read and it brightens my day every time. So of course I also wanted to think of ways how to show my gratitude and appreciation to the community. And of course there are the obvious ways, like sharing the abundance of my magical garden by cooking kitchen witch jams and making urban fused souls and rolling some beeswax candles, creating smoke blends and self-love soaps for the people that are going to attend my next retreat. But I also wanted to have something for the online community. So I had an idea. You might already have checked out my website and saw the online retreats, the online workshop, or the in-person retreats. And even though I try to really keep them affordable for everyone, they might be just a little bit out of your budget. So I thought, on the day of Mabon, of the autumn equinox, and only on that day, so mark it in your calendar, I am going to do a massive surprise sale. Really dropping things here, like not our panties prices, just to clarify. So watch this space, watch Instagram, or sign up to my newsletter because I will send out a reminder and maybe you can secure your spot and meet other like-minded fellow practitioners and join this wonderful supportive community. Because as my crotch goblin's new little kindergarten friend Mason always says, sharing is sharing. And that's a statement you can't argue with. Another reason I love Mabon so much is just because of all the color and beauty that's going on in nature. And now is the time to really go out and forage for those pretty flowers to dry, to brighten your house in the winter. And obviously, if you have an altar space, also that. For me, my altar space is more like a station where I have like some seasonal decor going on mixed with witchcraft tools that I will use the most during that period. Let me take you through my Mabon altar setup. Of course, first there is a corner of gratitude and symbolism with all the harvest items, flowers, pumpkins, poppy seed pots as a bridge between the vibrancy of summer and the nearing holiday of Samhain, holding the seeds for next spring flowers in them and reminding us that everything is a circle. Towards the darker half of the year, I do use smoke plants a lot more for the traditional holidays, so I'm gonna set that out with the herbs that I gathered, the traditional Liebfrauenbuschen. And then I also have this beautiful glass that I inherited from my grandma, and it always reminds me of that time of year because it has this hunting scene on it, and September is also when the hunting season here really goes into full swing. Now, this is salt that I always have on my altar space. It's just a folk witch item for protection, and it's pink Himalayan salt, so the love never runs out. Speaking of salt, I also set out my kitchen witch grimoire because fall and late summer is my main baking time. I get so inspired by all the fresh produce. Nothing more cozy than an afternoon spent baking on a rainy day. Now, St. Michaeli, 29th of September, is also the day where the first artificial lights are traditionally brought into the houses, so there has to be my little new salt tea light holder on there as well, bringing in that cozy warm light. And I also have my wand that I use mainly as a power tool to focus my manifestation. I've chosen this gem wand that I associate with financial stability, something that I really want to bring in. Now, I don't have a cornucopia, but I have this wonderful Viking horn that I use to put in my scripting rolls from last year. So all the goals that have become reality and that I'm grateful for to symbolize that abundance. I don't know if you remember the little divination tool that I made on Lunasa where I bottled happy summer memories, but that will also go in there because I am sure that will brighten my day on a rainy autumn night. And last but not least, my elemental bowl. At the moment, I'm giving this online workshop, online retreat in your element, and we're speaking about balancing our elements. And this is a representation for me to keep on working on myself, be the best version I can be.
Good, so Engel, look at a tiny YouTuber.